What is going on? It is Nate the Game Guy coming back with another video at hand, and today I want to talk to you guys about some of the best games that you can buy on the Nintendo GameCube for under $20. Now, unfortunately, the Nintendo GameCube is not exactly a cheap console to collect for. However, I would still argue that there are some games out there that thankfully won't necessarily break the bank if you decide to pick them up. Now, of course, with all these games that I am going to recommend, these are all games that I have played at some point or another, either if they're on the GameCube itself or I own these games on another console, but they just so happen to be also on the GameCube. Now, of course, with these games that I will recommend, I'm not going to rank these in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to show these off from the worst to best or the best to worst, which is the least expensive to the most expensive or the most expensive to the least expensive. These are just games under $20 that you can pick up for the Nintendo GameCube complete in box. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at some of these great games that you can pick up for just under $20 on the Nintendo GameCube right after the intro. So I'm going to go in strong with this first game recommendation right here, and that is Sonic Mega Collection. This is a fantastic compilation title that comes with every single Sonic the Hedgehog game that was released on the Genesis. Of course, these Sonic games are phenomenal platformers that if you haven't played them, you do have to play them. And what's really nice about this game is that not only does it come with every single Sonic game that was ever released on the Sega Genesis onto this one game, but you can also unlock other games as well that aren't just Sonic games, such as Rice Star and Flicky. This is a great compilation title that you can easily pick up for under $20 complete in box. So if you are looking for a phenomenal game that you can pick up with some great value to it, you cannot go wrong picking up this one. Now, two great games that are worth recommending right here are Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. These games were phenomenal back in their day with the different places and skate parks that you were able to go to and how you were able to perform these different tricks, collect these different collectibles in the different places. The game was just very fun, especially if you were somebody that was really into skateboarding. But what's really nice is that these two games don't necessarily require you to be a skateboarding enthusiast. And of course, these are very classic titles from back in the day. And thankfully, these are two that you can easily pick up for under $20 each. If you're looking for two fun, great games to pick up, these are just two ones that I think you gotta add to your list. Now, another good one that's worth recommending is 18-Wheeler American Pro Trucker. Now, this game is all about you where you've got your truck's payload and you are trying to go from point A to point B within a certain amount of time while trying to beat your rival and make sure that you take on as little damage as possible. This game is very fun, it's incredibly underrated, and this game is a port of a Sega Dreamcast game. If you are looking for a relatively fun and underrated title that you can play on the GameCube, you cannot go wrong with this one. This game can be pretty fun, and I have to say, I personally like it quite a bit. Now, the next great game worth talking about is Hitman 2 Silent Assassin. I am a huge fan of the Hitman series, and it is unfortunate that this is the only game that made it onto the Nintendo GameCube, but thankfully with Silent Assassin, this is a pretty fun game. It's a pretty solid title, and I really like the environments and the places that you have to go to across the globe to take out different targets. The story is really good as well, and I like how with the game that it does take quite a bit of planning with how you are going to maneuver around, make sure you're not spotted, and take out your target. If you are looking for a pretty fun stealth action game, I have to say Hitman 2 Silent Assassin is one that is really worth considering picking up for your GameCube collection. Now, these were two great games from back in the day, and that is Lego Star Wars 1 and 2. I remember when these games first came out, everybody loved them. And what's really nice about these games is that you don't necessarily have to be a Star Wars fan to appreciate them, because the gameplay and the creativity that comes along with these games will make up for it. It does take you throughout the Star Wars universe and allows you to unlock multiple characters from the Star Wars universe, and there is a lot of replay value that comes along with these games, and I would argue that these two games is what helped propel the Lego games to be where they are at today. They are incredibly fun, and they are easily worth going back and replaying again, and if for whatever reason you've just missed out on these, I gotta say these are two games that are really worth adding to your collection. Now, here's another great compilation title worth talking about, and that is Mega Man Anniversary Collection. Now, this game comes with Mega Man 1 all the way up to Mega Man 8, and of course, the Mega Man games are very classic games. They're extremely fun and are easily worth going back and replaying, and what's really nice with Mega Man Anniversary Collection, just like Sonic Mega Collection, Anniversary Collection does come with some games that you can unlock within the game. I have to say this is a pretty solid compilation title back when it came out. After all, I am a huge fan of the Mega Man franchise, and if you consider yourself to be a fan of the Mega Man games as well, this is just a no-brainer of a game that you gotta add to your collection, pick up, and play for your Nintendo GameCube. Now, I do have to talk about the 007 games. These were some incredibly fun first-person shooters from back in their day, and I can still say that I can find a lot of interest going back and replaying some of these games. And what's really cool about the 007 games is that you don't necessarily have to be very familiar with the James Bond films in order to appreciate these games, because the gameplay will easily make up for it, along with the different locations that these games will take you through. I gotta say, if you're looking for some really solid first-person shooters that you will easily have a blast playing through the campaigns of, you cannot go wrong with the 007 games that you can pick up. Now, this was a really fun platformer that I really enjoyed back in the day, and that is Pac-Man World 2. Now, if you do get this game on the Nintendo GameCube, it will come with Pac-Man Versus. Now, me, unfortunately, I have not played Pac-Man Versus, so I cannot speak on that, but what I can speak on is that Pac-Man World 2 is a really fun platformer. It comes with some really fun levels, and the gameplay is really solid too. If you are someone that really enjoys a good platformer title, you cannot go wrong with Pac-Man World 2. I unfortunately haven't played the original, but I will say with the sequel, this is a pretty solid platformer that I do enjoy, and I would love to go back and replay sometime. Now, here are two franchises that I'm going to throw in at once just because they are very similar to each other in terms of gameplay and the theme that comes along with them, and that is Call of Duty and Medal of Honor. These two games were the cream of the crop back during their time when it came to World War II themed first-person shooters. I remember so many people had these games and loved these games, myself included. They came with some really solid campaigns with them. These games were back during a time before Call of Duty was mostly known for its online multiplayer and its prestige systems and all that stuff. And of course, back when EA recognized that Medal of Honor was a franchise that they did indeed own and indeed existed. I remember that these games were incredibly fun, not just with how good these campaigns were in the games as well, but also their local multiplayer. I remember being around a couple buddies of mine, and we would just be huddled next to a TV, and we would try to go in with each other when it came to some local multiplayer. I've had a ton of great memories with these two franchises, and I would still argue that in this day and age, they are worth going back and having a revisit of. They are some pretty solid games, and if you are somebody that just for whatever reason have not played these two franchises yet, they do come with some really solid campaigns with them. So if you do enjoy some good campaigns when it comes to first-person shooters, along with some really phenomenal gameplay as well, you cannot go wrong with these two franchises. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out my video. Please be sure to check out these videos here, and here. After all, I post a lot of content when it comes to game collecting tips, and other video game related subjects. So be sure to keep an eye out every Monday and Friday where I upload consistently, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.